Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night, wherever you guys are out there in the world. One of the largest changes that we have been talking about that is going to impact the global system is faster settlement times. I always mention this in the past, right? The big thing to focus on is once instant settlement is achieved, payments are now officially in the future. Now, they cannot do this, in my opinion, without blockchain and DLT. This is a great post by the ISO Go. We have kick your feet up, I sure have. And here we actually have the user adoption before exponential growth. Check this out. This is where we are at in figure 1, crypto adoption in an S-curve cycle. This is Digital Asset Solutions AG. And look at this. By 2030, percentage of the global population using crypto will be around anywhere between 20 to 30%. By 2040, we will be at 80 to 90%. Think about how crazy that is. Now, obviously, yes, I don't believe that we're going to have to wait that long. I personally believe that within the next 5 years alone, I mean, things are going to look a lot different around the space. But in the next year, 2 years, maybe even 3, this entire space is going to change rapidly. And it's going to be centered out on major players that are disrupting the status quo around payments, tokenization, things like that. But beyond this, right, to build upon that, we actually have this post by Mr. Man XRP. When T+1 settlement is achieved, it can mean that cryptocurrencies are being utilized for faster settlement times. T+1 refers to the trade date plus 1 business day for the settlement cycle. The transition to T+1, which by the way, we have been waiting on T+0 for a while, settlement is expected to provide several benefits for investors and market participants, including reduced cost and enhanced liquidity in the financial system. Tokenization could enable shorter settlement cycles, potentially allowing for 24/7 availability and faster transaction settlement, which is particularly relevant for cryptocurrencies. Shorter settlement times, such as T+1, are seen as a potential benefit of tokenization, as they can generate significant savings and reduce exposure to risk associated with longer settlement cycles. Look where we're at in the cycle. And again, this is the curve, and check this out. We have Bank of America preparing for T+1 settlement. Major banks are now at the forefront. They are accelerating the shift. They are ready now. This is very significant to mention. Beyond that, we have from ISO 2822, this is from Citi, Utility, here we come. Ultimately, the industry needs to work together to ensure that T+1's integration is straightforward. The industry needs to collaborate and facilitate interoperability of systems, whether it is Fix, Swift, or any other proprietary systems. And here we have expediting settlements through innovation. Now, again, T+1 is the focus within the US and Canada, but some believe that the imposition of T+0 is an inevitable next step, highlighting it will lead to further improvements in capital optimization and risk management. There is also a general acceptance that T+0 will only be possible if new disruptive technologies are assimilated into the post-trade operating model. It is hard to imagine T+0 working efficiently without DLT in today's existing setup with all the various roles and processes. It will be challenging for T+0 to be effective. DLT, blockchain, it is the crucial piece of the puzzle. This is why we have been talking about this for a very long time. I understand that we are tired of waiting, but trust me when I say that the wait will be worth it. They are lining up. The big move is on the cusp right now. It is all changing at a rapid pace. Swift putting out a 35-second long clip. We have automation and transparency are key to reducing fails in a future with shortened security settlement cycles. With North America's move to T+1 fast approaching, the time to act is now. And here we actually have what happens in North America impacts the rest of the world. The US, Canada, and Mexico are transitioning to T+1 settlement. Market participants across the world need to prepare for challenges such as time zone pressures, not least in Asia Pacific, which accounts for 50% of equity settlements instructions sent to North America. With up to a 14-hour time difference, you'll need to put plans in place to avoid operational disruption and settlement fails. And it's so interesting to see this at a time where blockchain, DLT, where it is in the spotlight on mainstream media, it's being talked about by all of the heavy hitters. It is only a matter of time. And over here we have preparing for T+1, the global impact of North America's move. And this got posted back in November. So we are on the cusp. We are right there. All of this is crucial to note. Now, I do question, when are we going to get that T+0? Guess what? That's where we should all be looking at. And they do mention the APAC region. The APAC region is heavily focused on DLT and blockchain. This is, I'm telling you, like, this is the start of it all. We are about to see major changes happening to the settlement systems. Beyond that, we actually have an individual from the Swift community. He's giving us 5 reasons why you should adopt ISO 20022 now. And again, this is all part of the full move here. Beyond that, guess what? Customer experience is paramount to HSBC. This is the senior product manager at international payments at HSBC. Listen closely to this.
Customer experience is paramount to HSBC. The 3 most common challenges our customers face when making cross-border payments are delayed payments, failed payments, and payments to incorrect beneficiaries. On most occasions, these issues stem from the inability to verify beneficiary account number, including the account number format and beneficiary name. Swift pre-validation helps to overcome this challenge and is focused on eliminating friction, reducing delays, and delivering a seamless payment experience to our customers.
Now remember, right? Swift, they don't cover settlement or processing. So when we talk about HSBC working with Swift, and they're talking about payments, and they're specifically talking about cross-border payments and a lot of the experiences that these customers are having, I do question, are they going to be at the forefront of DLT and blockchain adoption along with many of the larger players like Bank of America, for example? Because Bank of America has been focused on the space for a while. They are aware of what's going on. But also we have learned more about how Swift is working with the financial community to unlock tokenized assets as a potential new source of value. Listen as they discuss the benefits of tokenized assets, whether our members can use existing Swift infrastructure to manage tokens, and how we're exploring interoperability over different public and private blockchain networks with over a dozen leading global financial institutions. This is what I'm talking about here. This is the revolution that's upon us. It's already here. It's already starting. Most people are unaware of what's actually going on here. Beyond this, we have this video. Now, this is about 6 minutes long, but we have David Schwartz on Medico and HSBC, insurance for digital assets, tokenization for gold, tokenization for securities. Listen closely to this clip.
News of Ripple's acquisition of Medico last year, and then partnering with HSBC. What can you tell us there? And is HSBC going to be using RippleNet or the XRP ledger in any way?
That has been, I mean, that was so exciting. You know, we knew we needed some sort of a custody solution. Ripple trying to be like a sort of one-stop shop for institutional adoption of crypto and trying to provide a platform that would provide access to the XRP ledger, to tokenization, to payments, particularly. Like there had to be a secure custody solution in there somewhere. And so we looked at many different companies, and then in May we acquired Medico. It was a huge acquisition, $250 million, Ripple's largest acquisition ever, and obviously it was a fantastic. It was kind of funny because when you first do an acquisition, you're not exactly sitting on the same side of the table as the company that you're acquiring, and everybody's afraid to say something that will blow up the deal. Like if somebody has a crazy, like, I had this crazy idea of something to do, like that's a terrible idea. Let's not acquire. Everybody's on pins and needles that they're not going to blow up the deal. And I remember our first meetings after the deal was closed when we were all sitting on the same side of the table. And I really have to say we found a bunch of kindred spirits. I mean, they've just been an amazing group of people to work with. The technology they've built is incredible. Custody is a massive market, something like $10 trillion by 2030. And, the increases in tokenization, mean that that's just going to grow. And institutions are going to be like the main drivers. So you need, some place to store it. If there's CBDCs, if there's stable coins, if those things become big as we think they will, people are going to need places to store them. They're going to need connections to on-ramps and off-ramps, payments, liquidity services. It's kind of all going to tie in. It's kind of like the same thing that banks learned. In the early days of Ripple, another thing I learned talking to banks is that a lot of banks don't care about payments. Seriously, like you might think, well, what do banks do? What they say is, we want you to deposit your money with us and sort of leave it here. And payments are expensive and they're slow, and customers complain when we can't do them. So we just won't be very good at payments. We'll be a great bank, but not very good at payments. And what they learned very quickly is that you're not nobody. Why would I keep my money at a bank that isn't good at payments? And what they discovered is that if I don't keep my money at a bank, I'm not going to go to the bank for a loan. It used to be if you needed a loan, you would go to your local bank that you had a personal relationship with. Virtually nobody does that anymore. Right. Like the world has changed. And I think the same thing happens with custody. Like if you want to get all these associated businesses, you're going to go to the place that has your cryptocurrency. Like you're going to look for their liquidity services, their payment services, their connectivity to on-ramps and off-ramps. That's going to be the first place that you're going to look. And so by adding custody, that's going to make Ripple the leading enterprise solution provider in the space. So, I'm just so super excited about that. HSBC, they plan to offer a custody service for digital assets to their clients. So it's kind of like a layering service where HSBC is using some technology for custody, and that sort of makes them able to provide a sort of relay custody service to their clients. What's great about that is HSBC can do the sort of compliance part for them. So if I keep my money at a bank, I'm almost completely reliant on the bank's compliance to make sure that I don't fund terrorists, or I don't receive money from, I don't have to have my own compliance department have a bank account, because my bank account is at an institution that has all those things. Now with cryptocurrencies, many people will self-custody and I'm just not worried about all that stuff. They don't have to have a compliance department because they don't have a regulatory burden. But if you're an institution that has a regulatory burden, it doesn't make sense for every institution that wants to hold cryptocurrency to have its own cryptocurrency compliance department. That's obviously they're going to have something because they have to monitor, but to actually build out all of those services doesn't make sense. So layering is just a very logical way to do that. And they're looking at things like digital asset insurance. They're looking at tokenized commodities like gold. So I think those are tokenized securities. HSBC is extremely interested in those types of projects. Their Orion project, which was a tokenized gold. So it's extremely exciting. It's strategically important to Ripple, and I think we're still in the process of processing exactly how the strategic, Ripple had strategies that they were working on that required custody. But Medico has so much more than they have those things of layered services with compliance. They have this possibility for a tokenization platform, this integrating it with payments and liquidity. And I think we're still thinking through exactly, we know what Ripple brings to the table. We know what Medico brings to the table. Obviously, the two of them together is great. But then what's the extra? What's the synergy that you get? I think we're still in the process of figuring out how we can adjust Ripple's strategy and Medico's strategy to take advantage of what the other can provide. It's going to be interesting to see. I wish I could talk about some of those ideas because they're great, but very little's finalized yet. So that's something. And again, we couldn't really do that until us and Medico were on the same side of the table.
Sure.
and we're totally willing to give share the crazy ideas and the bad ideas as well as the good ones without having to worry about blowing up, a $250 million deal.
And of course, big shout out to Tony Edward, Thinking Crypto One. I did include a few of these clips in a previous video, but the reason why I'm bringing it back up is because I really do think that a lot of people need to start focusing on the much larger picture here. Like right now, as we look at Ripple, Hedera, Swift, all of these big players, it is a battle now. There is a battle, and on that battlefield right now, there is a lot of big players from the space, like Ripple, like Hedera, like Swift, like FedNow. Again, I've talked about the possibility of Swift tapping into Ripple, utilizing the Ripple technology with XRP. It's a huge opportunity for Swift. It's not really a huge opportunity for Ripple besides, tapping into that 11,000 financial institutional network. That would be a big, big lift for them because, again, instead of them going out and marketing and having those 11,000 tapping into Ripple, they get it all under one umbrella. That's a huge step. But Ripple doesn't need Swift. Remember, I've always talked about this. Swift technically needs Ripple more than Ripple needs Swift. But the market right now is looking like digital assets, DLT, blockchain. It is at the forefront. And we are extremely early. And I don't think that people realize just how early we actually are at a time where like 10% of the global population isn't even in crypto or using crypto. It's kind of crazy to think about that. And, I really do think that we are on the cusp. I think that we are on a cusp of, major innovation being the driver of value and adoption. And I think that we are going to look back on time, and there's going to be a very large percentage of individuals that jumped out of this space at the worst time. They got shaken out of their bags at the worst time. And again, I think that there's going to be a lot of regret and a lot of major opportunity that gets taken for granted. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.